Okay, I'm in the middle of something right now. Okay. Hi, Jerry. Hi, Beverly. Y'all come on into the quiet room. There we go. We got some music going on now. There's 3 of them. All right, you guys. We are here. Doing what we are called to do. Welcome to the quiet room. We need to come over just a little bit because.
Well, I mean, this way.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
All right.
There you go.
Here we go.
Okay.
That's cool.
That's gonna make sure Trish is in there. I mean, right on the end.
You're in?
But yeah, you guys, we are coming to you guys from the quiet room. Today's topic, and this is a biggie. I know you guys have heard, all of the commotion going on in Alabama about the the law that they just signed, and actually it's not official yet because I was reading about that today. It's not official yet, but yeah. But also there are other states who are really on board with this. So we're talking about abortion today. All right, but first of all, I want to introduce our panel. And we're going to start with Miss Trish.
Good morning. So I'm Tricia Nicole Harris. I'm fabulous. I am the founder of Twisted Heart Ministries. I deal with hurting women from battered and abused past. I also am the owner of Sexy Bitch Desserts. Like my page, the desserts are sexy as fuck. And other than that, I'm just fabulous. That's it.
Kind of hard to work with that cue cards. I'm gonna put a sign up.
I'm always gonna feel
So Trisha's done?
Trisha's done.
Okay, so Anthony?
My name is Anthony Alexander, and I'm the founder of TTLO, which means Take the Limits Off. We have a fitness group, a singles group, business connect group, and also I'm a founder of Found Our Mission, where we help people locate their missing loved ones. And I'm also a musician as well, and so just glad to be here in the quiet room. Shh. All right.
Michael.
Wow.
That was a bad guy.
I don't know how to follow that up. Okay. I'm Mike Henderson, President and CEO and co-founder of Artworks Entertainment in Southern Texas. I am also partnered with Feral Home Care LLC in DeSoto, Texas as well, too, family-owned business though. And I'm also the fiance of the woman.
Oh, that's cute.
Shameless plug, bro. Y'all get mad if you want to.
I am Lonnie Muhammad. I have been a nurse for over 18 years, almost 20. Currently, I don't have a lot of, I'm not a business owner. I volunteer. I also am an administrative assistant at Feral Home Care, as well as an ER nurse in a level 1 trauma center with pediatrics. And I'm just here in the quiet room to see what I can bring to the table.
Just make a mean bowl of chili.
Yeah, I did.
Same.
And hello, you guys. I am Miss Teddy J. Jones. I am the host of the Quiet Room. And I'm also the founder of A Diva's Perspective, A Gentleman's Point of View, which is a group. It is a spinoff of this show. If you want to get in depth in some more topics and some more situations, come on in and join A Diva's Perspective, A Gentleman's Point of View, and give us your point of view or your perspective. We welcome you. I am also a Mary Kay consultant. So if you need your Mary Kay, hey, I am your girl.
Get your face beat up, girl.
I'm on it. daily. I'm on it.
Well, before we get rolling with this, Robert, there's one thing I really want to point out right now to everybody out there as well, too, though, that we are going to right here wish you a
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Teddy. Happy birthday to you.
we get slammed after the show.
Thank you guys so much. I was having a day, y'all. I don't know why. I was just having a day. I think it was just the fact that I actually really thought about how old I was. Because I don't feel that age. I don't even know if there's a feeling for that age, but I got to thinking about it today and I immediately started crying. I was like, oh my God.
And you definitely don't look that age.
You know, but anyway, thank you guys so much. I know those out there in Facebook land have sent me also a lot of happy birthday wishes, and I appreciate it so much, you guys. The last time I counted or even tried to count, I was like way over 2,000. So I appreciate you guys, really, really, I do. So now, starting with our topic today. Get you to hold that for me, please, because we're gonna get book out. First of all, we're gonna talk about abortion, but I don't know if there's anyone out there who doesn't know what abortion is or what it means, but we're gonna tell you. And basically what it is the deliberate termination of, and it doesn't have to be just say a human being, it can also be dogs, cats, horses, cows. It's the deliberate termination of the fetus or even an embryo. Embryo is up to 8 weeks. A fetus is 8 weeks and above. Okay. And also, the other thing I want to let you guys know too is that there's also several types of abortions. There's the medical abortion. We have, actually there's 7 types. Let me just get that straight. 7 types of abortions. And we have the early non-surgical medical abortion. This is performed 2 to 10 weeks of pregnancy. We have the vacuum aspiration, performed 2 to 12 weeks of pregnancy. And then we have the D&E, which is dilation evacuation. That one is a little bit more invasive because the fetus is now viable. Literally, there's a heartbeat. At this time, they usually do this one when they find out that there's something that cannot be corrected and it's going to cause death in the mother or the baby. So they will go ahead and abort. The other one is labor induction, which I think is absolutely cruel. This is when they induce labor, they pull the baby's body out, and then they take scissors and they clip at the base of the brain. And then they deliver the baby fully. And of course the baby is deceased at that time. And then there's one called a hysterotomy. And hysterotomies are done literally when it's stillborn. And they are not able to induce labor or anything like that. It's like having a C-section, but you're delivering an already deceased baby. So with that being said, we're talking today about the law that came into play just back May 1st when Alabama decided that, if you have an abortion, now you're going to jail. Basically telling the women how and what to do with their bodies if they decide they don't want to be pregnant anymore. So we're going to start with our lady Trish. Let her go ahead and talk about this.
So what do you want to know? Like, am I pro-life, pro-choice?
Well, I would like to know that. I would like to know if abortion is something that, if you needed to do it, would you do it? Or are you one of those that would have it anyway and do what you have to do?
Okay, I'm with that. So I'm pro-choice. And the reason being is because there are a lot of reasons why a woman would opt to not have a baby. I had an abortion when I was 12. I was raped by my cousin and I had an abortion when I was 12. So I am a victim of incest, rape, molestation, whole lot of, if the devil invented it, it likely happened to me. So I had an abortion early on, and I had it again because I was pregnant by my cousin. And to do that, I can remember, I'm 45, and I can remember like it was yesterday, the clinic. It was called Lovejoy. It's downtown Portland. And I can remember how cold it was in there. I can also remember that the doctor attempting to do the abortion sent me home that day. He
because I was a virgin basically, 12, and I kept moving when they would try to insert their tools, and he said, "We're gonna have to put her to sleep. We can't do it because she won't stop moving." Well, I was in pain. I know nothing about nobody going down there doing that. So the next day I had to go back. So I had to relive it, do this whole thing all over again. And have an abortion, they had to put me to sleep. The crazy part was I don't remember anybody being alarmed that a 12-year-old little girl was in an abortion clinic. I don't remember the doctor saying anything to me about what's going on. My grandmother took me to the appointment. She knew that my cousin raped me. He's still walking around like he ain't did nothing. So that was a choice that was made for me at 12 years old. But as an adult, if I needed to have that choice, I would like to have that choice readily available. I don't think that we should be using abortion as birth control. If you're in a position you have to have one, whether it be the pregnancy is a threat to the mother's life, rape, incest, any of those things, I think women should have the right. And I think that men, and y'all gonna be mad, I think that men should shut the fuck up about what women do with their bodies if they need to have an abortion, especially because most men leave women to deal with pregnancy, raising children on their own. That doesn't mean that there are not good men out there that handle their business. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying you see a lot of single moms, and a lot of it is just placed on the mother. And so now I'm going to jail if I get an abortion. What happens? It's crazy because, and then I'm going to be done with it. It's crazy because I can get up to, 99 years in prison for having an abortion because I was a rape victim or incest victim. But that's more time than the actual rapist would get. That doesn't even make sense. It's so vast backwards. It makes zero sense to me. So I'll end it with this. I'm all about choices. Please don't take my choices away from me. And that's me.
Anthony, are you pro or not?
I'm pro-choice. I was in a relationship before, and the lady wound up having an abortion, and she told me because she felt that he said that she was going to be a single parent. So I am pro-life, but I'm also pro-choice too, because I do understand from a woman's standpoint the weight that they carry. I think it should be, something that's talked about. Something, you have to have counseling to a certain degree about that because you're playing, with a life. I don't think it's right for a man to tell a woman when to abort, not to abort, especially when we all come from women. So I'm pro-choice. My question is, what happened to human rights? Because that should be a right, an individual right to or not to. And that's my standpoint.
Michael?
I'm pro-life and pro-choice. But here's the dilemma that I have with that, especially when it comes to regulation, government intervention, and yes, I'm about to make some people mad, the religious aspect of it. Okay. It still boils down to, it's not even about a choice, it becomes control. Because they have these congressional hearings about the subject. They want to discuss the subject in hearings. They want to add length, ad nauseum if you have to as well to the adult. But if you really look at it from a statistical standpoint, I'm not talking about abortions, I'm talking about the meetings that take place about it.
Mm-hmm.
You can literally count the women that attend those online.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's true.
So it doesn't become an issue about what's good for women, because I'm sorry, and I'm just gonna put it out there though, I don't think there's a man on the planet that can really be an authority on his body.
Right.
You can't, unless you built a woman a year ago or something like which I doubt, you're considering yourself an authority on something you had know nothing about, though. Guys can tell you about sports, they can tell you about cars. You really can't really do too much about a woman's cycle. Okay? You know, and there are physicians out there that actually like they study and train about it as well too. But that still doesn't make you an authority on a woman's body.
That's true.
Because everybody's different as well too, like that. Because as many times as people have been misdiagnosed with things as well too, as many issues that came about though that were like they really didn't treat it the way it should have been. But if a woman was in place there, you know, it's kind of like flying a plane though. You kind of want that pilot to have a little more experience flying the plane than you do.
Right. Definitely.
So if I'm going to give, I think a woman can be an authority on a woman though, because men don't like it when women try to be authorities on men. They don't like that though, and even men agree though, like in magazines where they're talking about how to treat a man and this and the other as well too, like that, and it's from some woman. No. No. You may know you're a man. You may know some men in your life though, but all men in general though, no. I know they printed it on documents stuff like that though. All men are not created equal. Okay, let me set the record straight though. They told you a lie. You're fed off into that crap. It's BS. By the same token, not all women are created equal, and from a medical standpoint, especially because of everything that women have to deal with. Though they deal with tons of stuff that we don't deal with like that. Man, we don't have a period unless we want one. Right. I had my moody moments though, but I got to believe behind it. Right. But I'm just saying. I'm just gonna keep it real. But you still have these guys, these men that are sitting here in congressional hearings discussing something without proper representation like that. That's almost like, and this is a true story though. There was a guy one time when we were talking about racism, and he said that I couldn't play the race card because he, as a Caucasian, was 11% African American. Yes. And I said, please don't go around bragging about that. Okay? So your 11%, even if it's true, so let me get this, but you went to Ancestry.com, paid the subscription, sent in your whatever it is, either your DNA sample or your information, something like that though. They printed out some crap and you believed it. Okay? So, but even with that though, your 11% of African American heritage is greater than my 100%.
Technically makes him African American in this day and time. That's what they say.
I invited him straight to the hood.
Any black blood in you makes you African American. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you know, still like that. It still doesn't make you. It doesn't grandfather you. It doesn't make you an authority. So they can have all the hearings they want to, though. They are not an authority on a woman's body. Okay, you pass all laws you want to, though, and you still won't get it, though. This is not about what's good for women. This is about controlling women.
Yes. Okay. I believe that.
You know,
yes.
You got some of these old congressional heads that are scared to death of women's liberation, women's empowerment, women's education, and a lot of them, believe it or not, though, kind of hate it because now in the climate, though, there are a lot of women that are well-to-do, and they didn't need a man. They may want one, but they don't necessarily need one, though. And some guys feel robbed behind that. They do. They feel robbed by it. But you take away from me being a man, though. That has nothing to do with you being a man, champ, at all. Especially if you fail to step up beforehand, though. Yeah, I'm calling some brothers out tonight, so. I'm just saying, because when the law was passed, I was like, you know, to me, it was probably one of the biggest WTF moments ever. Right. Because nobody knew anything was going on. Then all of a sudden, the news breaks, and all of a sudden now, here's some, I guarantee you, this is about we're in control now. It's been about control. Look at the history. It's been about control since the dark ages. But nowadays, with the climate, bringing this draconian way of thinking with things like that, though, they don't expect to get any backlash. Really? You think they were marching about? Okay, all right. You think they were storming Trump Tower, though? Y'all in for a rude awakening, though. Y'all ain't trying to pass that. And to me, it's not fair because there isn't a man on the planet right now, myself included, that would actually adhere to a law that said at age 46, I got to get a vasectomy. Across the board, from like that though. Right. You watch. If you think, okay, you thought there was a million man march. Talk about 10 million man march all over the globe. It's gonna look like we ought to wear. You know, because they're gonna protest it. Though. They're gonna have a problem with that. Though. Look what they're doing with gun control. And half of them don't even own guns. But raising absolute hell about their First Amendment rights. So, but yet still, they want to impose it on other people. Though they just don't want to impose it on them. Right. They don't. Now I say, like, if you just gotta have it that way, though, hey, let's go 50-50. Okay? But like you were saying earlier, though, Trish, about, you know, you're imprisoning the victim. You're punishing the victim. Okay? The perpetrator of a rape is either going to plead insanity, get put off or something like that, or get some watered down sentence. So next thing he's back out doing it again. Right. Okay? You know, and I know it sounds harsh though, but I know a real quick way to end all that. And it involves a sledgehammer. You don't kill him. You give him something to think about for a couple of days. But you're blaming the victim. You're punishing the victim. And none of these guys that actually passed this law was all for it though, has yet to get raped.
Right.
Yeah, like if they got raped though, it'd be a totally different story. Like, yeah, put them in there with it's like the Southern logic, like in Georgia, if you get arrested for sodomy, they're gonna put you in the jail with man's for sodomy. Southern logic. But I guarantee you don't have to worry about sodomy no more. Because it's different when you dole it out as opposed to taking it. So, like I say, I'm pro-life, I'm pro-choice. If I don't, I can impose that on anybody. Any more than I can have it imposed on me. And that's pretty damn arrogant.
It is.
You know, for you to turn around and impose something that you know for a fact you couldn't take them. And I guarantee you, half those individuals that passed that law would never be able to withstand a rape. At all. Or if they got raped or knew somebody did, they'd be crying till they murdered.
That's true.
So I'm done. I'm back to the one.
Ms. Lonnie?
Well, I will say that I am pro-life as well as pro-choice. Working with pediatrics day after day, it fulfills me. It fulfills me to be around children, to see families with their children, and I don't know, even if I'm having a down day or an off day, when I go to work and I work with them, and it just does something for me, and it fills my heart. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to be a mother, to be a parent, to be a part of a child's life. It's fantastic. However, there are times I feel like there's a time for everything, because you do work also with children who have been raped, molested, victims of incest. And what do you say in that case? Do you say that it's okay for that to happen, and that there's no choice, and that they just have to deal with the circumstance and suffer? I don't necessarily believe that that's the answer. I believe that that's a family decision, and that's a choice that's going to affect that young lady for the rest of her life. Right. No matter what, even if you decide that that's the way you want to go, it's something, I'm sure that there's not a day or a moment that goes by that's not in the back of your head. So either way, that person, that young lady, that woman has to deal with that choice for the rest of their lives. So why is that? Why would that be given to someone who has nothing to do with the situation, who won't be in the position to deal with that for the rest of their life, that hurt, that pain for the rest of their life? And, you know, you see the stories where there's success, and you see the stories where sometimes, you know, that hurt and shame ends up being put on that child. So it's not my choice, and I would hope that some random stranger wouldn't think that it was their choice either.
Right.
And my other, I guess, huge concern would be, so when it came to other things and the law being imposed, let's go back to the days of prohibition, to where they outlawed the sale of alcohol. And did alcohol not exist anymore? No, alcohol still existed. People just found ways to go around the law. It was an undercover system. They profited off of it still. They still sold it for more money. speakeasies, things of that nature. And this is something on a much greater scope, a much greater spectrum. Speaking health-wise, if we go back to the days of when, you know, you have your mom system or pop in the back room, and you know the cleaning of the instruments and things of that nature aren't mandated, and it's someone who knows a little bit but may not know everything. And when there's a complication, there could be a demise, not only a termination of the child's life, but possibility of the death of the mother as well. So my concern not only is, you know, you're taking away my choice, you're taking away my freedom, but if you do that, then what's going to be the other choice? You know, it's not going to go away. There's not going to be a time where people are like, oh, well, this is not going to exist. It just will exist in a different realm. And my concern is the safety of everyone involved, you know, and what will be the other choice. So.
You definitely got to agree with that one, though, because you can stop them to a certain degree. But what's stopping someone from going to the country or somewhere else to the location?
They going back to back alleys.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it was before. It was women were dying from. I had a cousin that tried to abort with a coat hanger. She died, and so did the babies died. So if you go back to that, it doesn't change. It is like you say, just the measures of getting it is different. It's no longer a safe place to get it, right? Or a sterile place to get it.
These congressional leaders now just figured that like that, you know, well, from this standpoint, it has to be like this. We don't want to do it like that. So, you know, that is gone if it even existed at all. Okay. So you're putting people at risk because of your ego. And I'm sorry, an ego has never solved the problem in the entirety of human history. Not once has an ego actually saved anybody or solved the problem. It caused more problems than anything else, but never solved it. And they're putting their egos onto it because that's the way they want it to be. And they're actually imposing this on people. Go back to what I said before. Look, you're imposing something on someone else that you wouldn't want on yourself. So they're wanting to manipulate and pursue happiness. You know, and so no, I mean, I have a problem with that because of the arrogance. I have a problem with it because of the, you know, you just have to be in control of something. We're back to Jurassic Park now. You think they have had any control over anything like that, though? I mean, come on. I mean, they made a real good point, though. You know, there's planes in here before, and you pick them because they look good.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but you have that type of arrogance, that type of mentality that's floating around when it comes out there, and lawmakers have it. It's almost like it's a requirement when you actually go to school with this. They're like, oh, you just gotta be an asshole. Train on this, that, and the other, but not on clear thinking. And you're not even thinking about your constituents.
Right.
Yeah. And the women that did agree with it and sign off with this wheelchair at that time.
It's tragic.
It's
Yeah,
tragic.
there are women that saw that because they're in that bubble to where they have to go along.
Right.
You know, and we all know that get along to go along thing doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So.
And I just want to pose a question. For women in that situation, it would be something that would be mandated. But let's just turn it around and twist it to the male side of things. What thing, you know, as far as their health, as far as their well-being, emotional being, is mandated for men?
Like I said, it's all take advantage.
Nothing.
Nothing's mandated as far as men concerned. They shut the gate, or they put a gate around women, but you're letting the men roam free. I mean, think about it though. Even from a justice system standpoint, you notice how certain individuals get, two people commit the same crime, but only certain individuals get the life sentence. Get the life sentence. Well, like that, you're picking and choosing exactly who's like that though, and not even thinking for a moment though. And I have a question for them as well too. How many times do you have to do this before it becomes wrong? How many people have to be affected by this before it becomes wrong. How many does it take? 1,000, 20,000, 50,000, a million? What? What's it like that? But they're not going to really think about it until it hits home.
Exactly.
When it hits home, it's a totally different set of rules. Like, oh, that's different. Because it's my daughter. That's different because it's my wife. My significant other, somebody like that. When it hits, it's so different though. But it also goes in the shadows as well. Okay, it's never made public. It's never really put out there. But for Sally Sue and Janie Jew, it don't matter.
Right.
Okay, because you're not going to worry about something you're not directly affected by. But yeah, and you're right. You're absolutely right about the idea that nothing affects a man like that. Nothing. They're slowly but surely opening the floodgates for the guys because they think that's the manly way to do his work.
So they're actually trying to take it way back to when women didn't have any rights.
Right.
Blacks didn't have any rights. Women didn't have any rights. So they're slowly trying to go back to that. And I think it's ludicrous. And I think we're too strong together to even allow it to happen.
They're going to push it out there. Women are rail against it. There are men that understand women, and they're going to rail against it. They're pretty much outnumbered with that too. But because they happen to be in a little bit of power, and I really don't, even though they haven't passed this like that, though, it's got an uphill battle for real. It has a long
because there's going to be ways around it. I mean, I myself, and I'm going to just say it, I'm pro-choice. I'm sorry, I'm pro-choice. Let me choose whether I want to keep the baby or not. Not that I would just use it like you said as birth control or whatever. That would never be the case. For myself, I've had an abortion. I had twins. But what happened is my body decided to expel one of the twins. That had nothing to do with it. I was fine. I was healthy, but my body said no. It didn't want it, so it expelled her. But at the time, it messed up some other things in there. So of course, once I go home, well, what they did was they call themselves doing a DNC, and that's when they do the dilation and curettage. Okay, did that, went home, laid down, and I just broke out into a cold sweat, and then I started throwing up, and I couldn't figure out what it was because I hadn't eaten anything. Told my mom. She didn't understand what was going on. She was like, "Oh my goodness, what's going on?" So she goes to the store and gets me Gatorade. I'm drinking Gatorade and throwing up Gatorade. I'm drinking Gatorade and throwing up Gatorade. It's still something is still not right. So I ended up going to the emergency room. They do a pregnancy test. My HCG was through the roof. But the doctor kept saying, "Well, she just miscarried. So it should be." Here comes another doctor going, "No, there is no way. It should be in the hundreds of thousands if she's not pregnant anymore." So they do a sonogram. And they find the second baby. Yeah. They did not know. And the sad part about it is now we're going to what it's going to look like if this is not legal. Because this was legal and they missed it. So just think if it was illegal and they missed it and I got sick, I would have died. I would have absolutely died. Because to this day, they didn't know whether it was going to be a viable pregnancy or not. They kept looking at it. They kept asking me questions. How did I feel? Was anything wrong? And I'm looking at them like, I just feel like I'm about to pass out. That's what I'm feeling. And they're looking at, all of the chemistries and the lab work, and they're like, you know what, we're just going to have to go ahead and abort. So then they go in and they do a strict DNC. That's where they strip, the whole inside, just to make sure that everything was gone. And then I ended up staying in the hospital for 3 days. See, now think about it. That was illegal. Where would that person be for 3 days? They wouldn't be in the hospital. They would probably end up in some back alley or go home, get into bed, and pass away.
Yeah. Wow.
So I'm not understanding why someone would want a procedure like this to be outlawed when something like that literally could happen. Because, I mean, where does it fall at this point? Where does it fall? Are you telling me I have to keep this baby because it could possibly be a viable life?
Yeah, I'm gonna chime on something that George Carlin said one time when we were talking about the idea of that argument of sanctity of life. He put it plainly. There is no sanctity of life. They fucking made it up. They made it up though. You made it to suit a purpose. You know, you want to say, you know, that all life is important. No, it isn't. No, it's not. As a matter of human history, though, not all life is important as well like that. We prove that time and time again, though. You're killing each other. If life was sacred, if life was truly sacred, though,
Right.
Earth would be very, very populated right now.
Right.
But it's not. It's not sacred, though. But in this purpose as well, though, you want to try to consider it sacred, though, because you think it's like some grand testament to your humanity. Yet still, though, you're going to, you know, force you to have a child.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a whole lot of orphans over here with no homes, children out the street, people like, living on the streets, so like that, like veterans that can't get home jobs or health care, but you worry about life. Okay? So, in other words, if you're a fetus, you're safe. If you're an adult, you're screwed.
Exactly. And you know, the other thing with this bill is that, okay, abortions are outlawed, but there's no Medicaid. So you're saying I have to have this baby, but there's no health care for me or the baby. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, that's just
Makes zero sense. So this whole argument, debate, whatever you want to put on it, to me, it makes no sense. It has to be a situation where it's fueled by money of some sort or some sort of power, because I take this personal as an attack on women.
Yeah.
Period.
It
It makes zero sense. I've read the bill. Even if I were to miscarry, for natural causes, for whatever reason, I miscarried, like you were saying, the body's healthy. Now I'm being investigated criminally to see if I did something to cause the miscarriage. So now, not only is now my baby dead for no fault of my own, I now face the fact I could go to jail because I miscarried. So to me, it's such an extreme law, such an extreme bill that they're trying to get through, and other states are on board with this. And to me, it makes me feel like there's something bigger that's brewing behind the scenes, because this is all consuming. So something else is going on, but we're so consumed with abortion, and as soon as this dies down, we'll get punched in the face with something else. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
And it's bad when Planned Parenthood in St. Louis is suing the state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is bad.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, what you were saying, this is more of a woman's right versus an abortion, I believe.
But once again, it still boils down to control.
Right.
And it's just something like, you gotta be in control of this, you gotta be in control of that. So, how many hands do you really need on the wheel?
Right.
So a woman can't make a determination in this modern age.
It's something.
Although it's actually good for her when it comes to that as well too, because some legislator somewhere, some religious Bible thumper somewhere, they're like, yeah, I'm pissing them off. Because they're the main ones actually doing it, but you're also the main ones perpetrating this mess as well too. Yeah. Okay. But you're giving rapists a pass, but you're threatening the victims with prosecution, or anyone for that matter as well. Like, you have no medical complications, or like that. It's not everything fits so easily right or wrong. Not everything's black and white. They're trying to make it black and white, and it doesn't. And I'm sorry, life and circumstances simply do not work.
especially in the medical field, everything is gray. It's not one of those things where what happens to Lonnie is the same thing that's going to happen to me, the same thing that's going to happen to Trish. It's not cookie cutter.
Yeah, but they think it's like that. They actually think it's cookie cutter like that. Okay, like that. Your cookie gonna have about 9 chocolate chips, and so is your cookie. Okay, check any damn bag though.
And Trish, if you don't have 9, then there's something wrong. gonna have to put you in jail, and that you sit there until you find that other.
What's wrong with you?
Until you find that other chocolate chip that you can sit.
Right. I want to kind of chime off of what Trish said, as far as if you miscarry and there is an investigation. Being a woman who's had a miscarriage before, it is an extremely traumatic experience.
It is.
It's very emotional. It's very deeply sorrowful. Okay, it's a huge loss, and to have me to relive it just because you're in question of my motives and you know what I've done, I just don't feel like it's the same thing. You're putting me on trial and you know roasting me for something I have absolutely no control of. You know.
Yeah, some of these same people with that mentality though will blame rape victims for the rape.
Mm-hmm.
They will. They'll turn around and say, I'm looking from a law enforcement standpoint as well too. Okay, because I'm ex-law enforcement. I was a cop for about 6 years, and we dealt with cases like that as well too. To where like, okay, here's the victim, there's a perpetrator, and then someone on the line though in the justice system, they're saying that she provoked it.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're talking about, okay, you can't wear this in the club, you can't wear this going out as well. It's like that. You got to dress on a bird. There's some guys.
It's all your fault.
Yeah, exactly. There's some people out there. You can dress. You can wear a burlap bag and still try to get you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with any of that though. You're not checking the perpetrators. You're not even engaging as well too. Because he's got some mental effect like that though. You need to do something about that as well too. Because now you got a public menace around here though. But you don't want to infringe on his rights though. But what about the rights of the victim?
Right. Now I will say that I am a certified sexual assault nurse, examiner. So I've seen lots of scenarios, and to take away that right, to take away that choice already in a detrimental time. And victims don't always come forward immediately after that.
That's right. That's right. They
You
don't.
know, and there's a certain time frame that the lawmakers want to give, a very short time frame. It's already something difficult to process and to relive. And so when they come forward, it's not all the time. You know, sometimes women are disbelieved, you know, because the person who may have done it may be someone who was close to them. Or, you know, in the case of children, a family member who they were afraid to come forward about because, you know, that's uncle or papa or whomever who they look up to and revere, and this is the person that's just done this to them. So it's not always on the day of, you know, and so to every circumstance in that situation, in the case of rape or molestation, you know, it's a very gray area, you know, and it's something that, you know, you can't just put a blanket on top of and just say that this is going to be the end all for everyone, you know, just like that cookie cutter situation. It can't be a yes, no to everything. There's always going to be a maybe. There's always going to be a maybe.
And that's why I don't understand how you can write a law. I mean, that law would be so long, it would be a book. By the time you added in, okay, what about this person? And what about this situation? And what about that situation? You would have several books for that particular law. But now you're just going to say, no, can't, no abortions. Don't care if it's incest, rape, whatever. We're just going to put you in jail.
I'm gonna call it a male ego stroke. A straight up male ego stroke. Because I think about that. I mean, to even have that mentality, period, to shut somebody down with things like that, without any type of any type of like discovery, any type of really actually foresight. Though they didn't even have women in the room when it went down.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't.
Well, you know what? If you look at the cabinet, and they were showing this on television not long ago, that the whole cabinet was old white men.
Right.
Not young men of all races, but just old white men. So guess what's going to happen if that's all you got going in there? That's going to do what is right for the people.
And they don't even represent the
They don't.
Exactly. They do not
We
represent
are
the people.
a very multicultural,
Very
just
diverse.
very, very diverse. You go out of the country and you may see someone, just one culture because, that's that country's culture or whatever the case. But in America, we welcome everyone. There's different cultures, different races, and so for them to say that this is going to be the one thing and that they represent everyone.
Yeah, right.
You can't represent me if you don't even know about me.
Well, you have to look like me as well.
Yes.
It's kind of like what Donald Trump said. Let's make America great again. How do we do that? We go back to that old way of thinking.
It was never great in the beginning.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
somebody finally told the truth. It was never great in the beginning.
And it's like that song James Brown wrote a long time ago. This is the man's world. So they back to that old way of thinking.
Not liberty and justice for all.
Exactly.
Liberty and justice for some.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I've had to correct a few people on that as well.
Mhm.
It's liberty and justice for all.
No, it's not.
It wasn't. Whereas if that were the case, though, that would have been a boat ride that wouldn't have went down.
Right.
Right.
There would have been a whole lot of atrocities that never occurred.
Mhm.
Okay, that would have been like, as far as like Native Americans. I mean, like, but then again, you have the mentality, serves a right, or they had certain right for being on our land before we got here.
Right.
No, but once again, it's that arrogant mentality right there that produces this kind of stuff. Okay, because once again, we're in that mode. It's an ego stroke. There it is. It has nothing to do with women's rights. It has nothing to do with women's bodies. Though. It has nothing to do with women's health, look at welfare, or nothing. It's like you say, a bunch of old white men, and like trying to hang on to the last bastions of control. Because they know if you didn't do that as well too, like that though. But then again, once again, control, you never had it.
Right.
You never really had it though, and I guarantee you though, nobody had any idea back in the day when they were doing all that wild stuff, running all like that, what they would kickstart.
Yep.
They had no idea what they would kickstart because like we're here now.
Mhm.
That's true.
Yeah, it's gonna be one hell of a war trying to kick us all out of here. I ain't going back to Africa. For what? I can't go back. I was never there.
But you tried.
Bad. 10 minutes.
So, but we're gonna bring this to a close because this was kind of a tough one for me because
You should start talking to them.
right. This one was a tough one for me because my abortion was not a choice. Like I didn't have a choice, and then on top of it, I had a miscarriage and then an abortion. So yeah, it was a little traumatizing for me. And believe it or not, even though it was legal, I didn't get any therapy for it. Nobody said, well, baby, let's talk. Let me give you a hug. It was like, okay, you can go now. Here's your discharge papers. Come back and see us in 6 weeks. Make sure everything all right.
Right.
So I dealt with it. So I just really think we need to rethink how we, like the system, the process that we take something like that through. Because, you're going to throw this law in here, and now these little girls or even women will run off somewhere to, back in the day, they call it the Jane, and they would go underground and go to Jane, because Jane didn't have a name, Jane was Jane. Jane took care of it, disposed of it, gave you some pills in a little envelope and said, okay, you're good. And it's barbaric sounding, but that's what it is. That's what it was. And that's where they're trying to put us back to. So I'm going to pose a question to our audience. And you guys can chime in anytime you get a chance to. Is, are you pro-life or are you pro-choice? And how do you feel about this Alabama law? Because, I mean, we're talking Alabama, but there are other states who actually have already put this thing in place. Like, they're already really, really gung-ho against having an abortion no matter what the situation is, whether it's incest or whether it's rape or whether it's just somebody that just don't want the baby right now or can't take care of the baby right now. Even if the baby has some sort of disorder that will cause the individual who's having the baby a huge monetary responsibility for this baby. I mean, that's not a reason to get rid of a baby, but you have to think about it. If your baby is going to be a vegetable for the rest of their life, are you one that would say, okay, you know what, maybe I should let the baby go back to God? Or are you one of those that, yeah, I'll keep him and it's going to cost me millions and millions and millions of dollars to take care of him, but I got it and I'll do it, you know? So to our Facebook listeners, we want to hear from you guys. We want to know, how do you feel about this law? How do you feel about pro-life or pro-choice? Are you pro-life or pro-choice? All right, you guys, I guess that is our time, and I guess we're out of here. But we love you, and we're so glad that you guys could come and join us on this wonderful Tuesday evening. It's been a blast. This is the Quiett Room. Ciao.
Cue music. I did for a moment though. We were having a love each other for a minute. Allow me to do this.
Okay, let me move up here.
So, but we had more to this week, y'all.
Yeah, we're being healthy. See, this is what I mean by the Muppet Show, though. You know, like you only saw it from the waist up. No.